Okay, so I'm assuming now that you've all seen Paris is Burning. If you're watching these out of order, that's fine. But my assumption will be that they're going in order, and thus I will refer to the film. So this particular lecture is looking at camp and postmodern feminism. And don't worry about words like postmodern feminism. Some of you are about to graduate. Probably if you're not going on to grad school, you don't want to learn more words like postmodernism. But I want you to get the idea of it, because it's something that as lifelong learners, as citizens in the world, are ways to think about how do we empower. So whereas last week was about the ways that women are negatively represented, camp is all about using representation to challenge nature itself. So it isn't about having better representations of women, it's about challenging the category of woman itself. Is there such a thing as woman? Is it stable? What does it mean? And that comes with the term performativity. So if you've taken any performance classes, and I think you guys cover this in 301. Hold on. Sorry, I need more back support there. Okay, so 301, this idea of performativity. And the idea of performativity, in this case, we'll talk about gender, but it's the notion that gender is not something that's biological or natural. It's something we perform, right? This is socially constructed, and the way that we know what is male and what is female is constructed over time through constant reiteration of gender identity. Every day that we wake up, I reiterate my gender identity. Today, even though I might have pneumonia, I still brush my hair, put on some makeup. I'm performing gender. The way I sit, right? I was taught, like I tend not to sit like this because I'm taught to maybe not overemphasize certain things if I want to be polite. All of these things are ways that we learned to do gender. So we perform it. And the argument is this is why gender norms are so heavily policed, right? Gender is heavily policed and controlled to keep them in line. Like, if gender was natural and normal, why do you guys always have to slap each other on the head and what's a pussy, like stand like a man, whatever, right? Or why do girls always have to pick on other girls if they're not feminine enough? I remember, oh God, I think I was like 11, 10. It was summer camp between the 5th grade and the 6th grade. And the girls were like, you don't shave your legs? That's so gross. And of course, at 11, I don't know that I needed to shave my legs, but I didn't have a mom at that time. My mom had taken off, and as you might recall from earlier, she was a second wave feminist, so she sort of got over being a mom and went to liberate herself in the world. So I was stuck with my dad, and I asked my dad if I had to shave my legs, and I kid you not, he gave me this old rusty razor and told me to have at it. So let's just say the bathroom looked like a murder scene by the time I was done. And I still have a scar on one of my legs where I'm missing a piece of a piece of my leg from shaving. Anyways, all this is to say it is not natural or normal. It has to be constantly policed by society, right? There was no natural part of me that was like, hey, I want to take this sharp razor and try to kill myself in the bathroom by removing very blonde leg hair because I'm 10, right? This is what happens over time. I show this every chance I get because I love it so much. So the idea that gender is performed. So Fox News ran this story, and their claim was that we need to stop believing that men and women are equal, but that they're very fundamentally different at the core, right? And this is the picture they chose to use, which looks like a man and woman at the top of the Empire State Building getting married. Now, of course, the problem with that is this was a lesbian wedding. In fact, it was the first lesbian wedding at the top of the Empire State Building. And Fox News completely undermined their own point by saying that there's a natural difference between men and women, only to find out those were two women, and that what seemed naturally male was performative and what seemed naturally female was performative in this case. They took it down quickly, but not before, to the delight of women's studies teachers everywhere, some people captured it. Oh, hold on, let me fix the One of the benefits of recording your lectures, if you forget to put the animations in your slides, you can just stop the tape and start over. Okay, so this week we're looking more at this performativity. From the documentary you saw, Paris is Burning, they had a lot of discussion around realness. And in this case, we call it now passing, right? And the reason that that picture I just showed you, it undermines the essential or necessary nature of gender or whatever categories you want to play with, because it's showing like, look, somebody not that can be that through performance, which means that it's a non-exclusive identity, right? So in the movie, if you see in this far right corner where they said this is white America, right? These are clearly not rich white people, but they're performing rich white people, which is kind of showing there's nothing inherent about white people that gives them the ability or the monopoly on this space. If we can perform it, we know it's a performance, can be broken down or be opened up. There's places for more people to enter that category. Camp is, so they didn't do as much camp in the documentary as I remember, which is interesting. So most drag balls are seriously about over the top, and it seemed these drag balls had a lot more focus on the realness category. But camp is generally drag showy, over the top, exaggerated, bigger than life, right? And it exposes gender or exposes the category you're playing with by exaggerating, right? It's cueing you that this is artificial. This is not inherent. Camp is considered ostentatious, exaggerated, affected, theatrical. It is marked by artifice, frivolity, and shocking excess. These are quotes. And this is an interesting thing. Some people also associate it with tacky or campy, or campy is considered like kitschy or tacky, or maybe not high style. So sometimes we see camp as high style, but sometimes it's kind of about being tacky and over the top in ways that expose the seriousness of the category. So camp then is about fun. It's about blowing up. Well, I think there's a good quote on the next one where it's about blowing up seriousness. Okay, that's in two. So the idea of performativity is that if gender or class or race even is entirely performed, we can disrupt this, we can change it, we can fail to reproduce it, right? If what if we all decided one day to not reproduce gender the way it's been done? We can do it differently, or race or class, these kinds of things. Now, Judith Butler, who is known for this theory, recognizes that as individuals do it, it's very dangerous and scary, and society can really come down on them. So it's not a free-for-all. It's not like any of us one day can wake up and perform a different race or perform a different gender. It's not that easy. And there's a lot of danger and craziness. But it's a theoretical idea that we can make space, let's just call it that, make space between categories, make space in the rigidity, question the categories themselves in order to create more possibilities for being in life. Right. So this person to the left would identify, I'm fairly certain that this is a woman who has PCOS, so they have facial hair and they've gone with it. So a non-binary person, right? I bet she has a hard time in certain places in her individual life, but as a concept, as a theoretical vision, she challenges what we assume these categories should be. Okay, so I'm going to pause that there because I'm supposed to make little short videos, and then I'll start the next video of the 4 kinds of camp that we need to look for.